Well, this is Dr. Stan, and we have Dave from Illinois. Dave wants to know what Bob thinks is going to happen. Bob thinks we're going to see a chaotic situation down the line before very long, and they'll probably be bringing in foreign troops to try to maintain order because they know that American troops will not fire on American citizens. That's, of course, how the Russian Revolution came about back in 1917. The Russian troops would not fire on their fellow countrymen, and, of course, when the orders were given to do that, why, of course, everybody joined in the revolution. So they'll probably bring in foreign troops, and I think they have everything in place. They are 3 steps ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen, but these people are traitors. They're subversives. Their dedication is not to the United States, but the internationalist dream. Anything else you want to say, Dave, before we let you go?
Well, with this debt we've got just keeps climbing by the millisecond. That's what I think is going to, there's no way that's not going to cause a calamity. I mean, how could it not? How could a $13 trillion debt and growing, how could that not cause a catastrophe?
You're absolutely right. It's going to cause a catastrophe. Hey, thanks very much for calling, and let's go to Lerone calling from Marina. But before we get to Lerone, I'm going to ask Bob if you'll go ahead and put out information on how people can get a trial of copy of the International Forecaster and perhaps subscribe to it. How can people get in touch with you, Bob?
Well, the Forecaster is about business, finance, economic, social, and political issues all over the world. We publish on Wednesdays and Saturdays, usually about 40 pages each time, and we have a hard copy for those people who are not on the Internet that is published twice a month. If you'd like a free introductory copy, you can go to forecaster.com. That's www.intforecaster.com. If you want to email us, that address is bob@intforecaster.com. bob@intforecaster.com. Or you can call 800-375-4188. That's 800-375-4188.
All right, fine. Well, a telephone number if you'd like to call in. You have a question for Bob. 1-888-24-LIBERTY. 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. That's 464-8295 here in the Monterey Bay area. And is it Lerone or Lavone?
It's Lerone. L-A-R-O-N. Lerone.
Okay, Lerone from Marina. Go ahead. Do you have a question or comment?
Right. I wrote some things down the last time I listened to your show here about a week ago, and I didn't get a chance to get through. So first off, congratulations, Mr. Chapman, for airing the show. What I have to say about the economy is not in the president's hands. It is not in the Congress' hands. It is not in the Senate's hands. It is in the hands of we the people. And we the people have to start working together instead of against each other. And it tells us in the Bible to give, and to tithe. And I came up with a program that is come under tithings times 3 plus 1. And if you follow this program, this country can be turned around and put back on its feet in a year. But,
all right, fine. Well, if you'd like to, I appreciate you mentioning that, but I really think that the economy is in the hands of a small, select group of very evil and wicked people who control our banking system and the Federal Reserve Board and the Treasury system.
We, the people, are allowing that to happen.
Absolutely, but you see, the trouble is we, the people, do not even understand. They control both political parties and make mockery out of these democratic process. What we need to do is get people educated, and the only way it'll turn around is if people are educated. Do you have a parting thought?
We need to look at new businesses versus jobs. Jobs at $7 an hour, and automobiles at $20,000 doesn't add up. So instead of putting the person out on a job, we need to create a new business, and that we the people can do this, provided that we have a tutorial in which to work with. And I have personally put together a tutorial. And if I could give my email.
You go right ahead, get your email out.
Okay, it's it's LaRonskills@yahoo.com.
Give that one more time, Laurent, and we'll let you go.
Okay, it's LaRonskills@yahoo.com.
Okay, fine. Thank you so very much. And, of course, I believe the most important thing we can do is get people educated. And, of course, if we don't get rid of those scoundrels there in Washington, D.C., we're not going to be able to change things at all. And, of course, as long as the wealthy people control both political parties, why are we going to be voting for the candidates of their choice? What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are we definitely, in order to survive democratically, have got to throw those people out of office in Washington. And that has to be followed up, if we're fortunate enough to do that, with immediate action to do away with campaign contributions, and I have an extension for that, lobbying, executive orders, the Federal Reserve, and the Patriot Acts. And I think if we can accomplish that in 1 year, we can turn the country around.
All right, fine. Let's go to Mike, who's calling from Santa Cruz. Hi, Mike. How are you doing? Go ahead.
Supposedly they found like $1 trillion in gold in Afghanistan all of a sudden. Did you hear anything about that, or is this like a coincidence, or making it up, or?
Well, I think, Bob, why don't you address that? Bob has actually written about this many times, the fabulous wealth of Afghanistan, and now, 8 years after he wrote about it, why Washington finally found an old copy of the National Forecaster and is now announcing it. Go right ahead.
And whether there's $1 trillion there or not remains to be seen. It would take any mine there at least 8 to 10 years to get into production. So it's not going to affect anything short term. But Bovis Americanus doesn't know that. And they're bringing this up again in order to subject gold to downward pressure. And they do this all the time. They're lying. They knew before I knew and published about what Afghanistan has, that they had it. This is nothing new. It wasn't discovered last week. The New York Times is lying, but what would you expect from them? They're part of the Illuminati.
Okay, anything else, Mike?
No, that's it. Thanks.
Okay, fine. Let's go to Maurice calling from New York. Again, once our telephone number is 1-888-24-LIBERTY. 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. And I was just simply pointing out to second what Bob is saying. Every time, of course, the gold starts going up strongly, why there's an announcement, the IMF is going to sell gold, Germany is going to sell gold, the European Central Bank is going to sell gold. It is all manipulated. And as they manipulate the stocks can be down 300 points all during the day. And then in the last 5 minutes, all these mysterious orders come in from the Cayman Islands, from who knows where, and they drive the price up. So instead of the stock market being down 300, it closes up 100, and everybody says, boy, look, isn't it great? The stock market's going up, and it's all manipulated. It is the Working Group on Financial Matters, or Working Group on Financial Markets, or the Plunge Protection Team that suddenly manipulates the price of the stocks and of the bonds and of the commodities and of gold and silver. Well, let's go to Maurice calling from New York. Again, our number 1-888-24-LIBERTY. 1-888-24-LIBERTY or 464-8295. Go ahead, Maurice.
Yes, Mr. Chapman, Dr. Monteague, I'd just like to ask one question. Who's at the top of the subversive internationalist list?
Well,
Rothschild, Rockefeller, the 13 families, or what? Because I'm confused about that.
Well, I think if you go back in history, you'll find that the royal families of Europe are on top. And in latter days, in the last probably 125 or 50 years, there's been an evolutionary process where people in the United States have reached a power point where they're somewhat equal to the others, such as the Rockefellers, at the same point that the Rothschilds achieved in Europe. And so they're all in on it. And it goes all the way down. You know, the Bushes are probably in category 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 someplace, because they're the thieves who, if they get caught, get exposed. But the whole thing is a criminal organization.